Hello friends, today we are going to discuss about stigma and mental illness. I am Dr. Suresh Bada, Professor of Psychiatry, Head of Telemedicine Center, Head of Forensic Psychiatry Unit working at NIMANS, Bangalore. Before I start my presentation, I would like to have a disclaimer. This presentation is for academic purpose only, not for any legal or medical opinion. If you want to have a legal or medical opinion, please do contact respective professionals. Conflict of interest? None. The objective of this video is to define stigma, why the stigma is there, what are the different types of stereotypes and discrimination, what is the impact of stigma, and also how to deal with the stigma. These are the important points I'm going to cover in this video. And this video is meant for all mental health professionals, and also for the users and also their family members. That is basically persons with mental illness and their family members. And this video will be very helpful for the policymaker to understand how stigma plays a very important role in providing mental health care. Let's understand stigma. The word stigma is from Greek origin. It means to pierce, to make a hole. In olden days, they used to brand a criminal by putting a hot iron of a mark of infamy on their body, either on the hand or in their back, so that he is identified in the society as a criminal. So this branding used to be called as stigma. Once the branding is done, he is recognized, he is discriminated, he will not be given any job, and he will be considered as outcasted in the society. That is how the stigma, basically by labeling him and also stigmatizing him and discriminating him. This is how the olden days used to behave with the people, with criminals. But however, over a period of time, this got extended into various other areas, such as mental illness, leprosy, tuberculosis, epilepsy, and various other disorders also. But unfortunately, the mental illness continues to have stigma till date. Now let's understand how stigma and mental illness play a very important role. Stigma refers to a set of negative attitudes and beliefs that motivates individual to fear, reject, avoid, and discriminate against people with mental illness. This is a simple definition which clearly said negative attitude and beliefs that motivates for fear, rejects, avoid, and discriminate people with mental illness. Further, WHO, that is World Health Organization, also said stigma is a mark of shame, disgrace, or disapproval which results in an individual being shunned or rejected by others. So this is stigma in general. At the same time, it also says stigma means it's a discrimination. Discrimination is the unfair and less favorable treatment towards who are stigmatized. Basically, they are marginalized over a period of time, telling that you have certain problems or you are having certain issues which needs to be addressed, or else you will be kept outside the society. You are not normal among the society. This is how the stigma starts growing. Stigma has a stereotypes. The stereotyping is basically a set of ideas telling that the person with mental illness have maybe there is a devil possessed in them, or else they are highly dangerous. At the same time, it also has a prejudice, that is basically preconceived opinion regarding persons with mental illness. Here they say the prejudice will be once a person with mental illness means he's a lifelong a person with mental illness. He will never be curable or treatable. This kinds of preconceived notion play a very important role in discrimination. Discrimination is the unjust treatment done to a person within the society. And also, he will not be treated fairly with others. This gives him unfavorable environment. Along with his having mental illness, he has to fight with normal people to get the same opportunity, equality, and also to participate in the society. So this is how the stigma plays a big role in provision of care and also for equal participation in the society. Let's understand different types of stigma. One is public stigma, self-stigma, and structural stigma. Let's discuss each one of them. Let's understand what is public stigma. The public stigma is nothing but the negative reaction of the general population towards the persons with mental illness. That is because of stereotypes. What are the public stigma? In general population, they think person with mental illness are dangerous, violent, crazy, killers, criminal, lazy, invalid, incompetent, burden on the society. So this kind of public stigma plays a huge role the way the person with mental illness is treated in the society. Further, the self-stigma, also called as internalized stigma, occurs when a people who are stigmatized share these stereotypes and turn them against themselves. That means the public is already saying you are useless. Unfortunately, many persons with mental illness believe that and they internalize it. They feel that I am incompetent, I am useless, I am burden, I am curse. This is clearly depicted in many persons with mental illness who commit suicide or they do deliberate self-harm. Of course, mental illness play a role, but at the same time, stigma also play a huge role. Coming to the structural stigma, here the public institutions or the health institutions or the government that restricts the rights of the stigmatized group, either intentionally or unintentionally. Here the institutions will not give them job, telling that a person with mental illness, how can he drive a vehicle? A person with mental illness, how can he hold a job? How can he marry? How can he hold a property? How can he do business? How can he enter into a valid contract? How can he vote? Education. And how can they have human rights? So these are the structural institutions which play an important role in generating and maintaining stigma. Let's understand some of the stereotypes. The way the society thinks and also has the stereotypes. The stereotypes which are commonly seen is with regard to illnesses. Mental illness are incurable. They are infective. If you are going with the persons with mental illness, that means you will also develop mental illness. One of the commonest stereotypes I have heard is, I'm a psychiatrist. They think if you are working in mental illness, even the psychiatrist also will develop mental illness. Not only psychiatrist, the nurses, and also the psychologists, social workers, other healthcare professionals working in the area of mental illness will develop mental illness in the long run. This is the commonest stereotype is seen even in the educated people. At the same time, the third important is the mental illness developed because of lack of willpower. That is how they think. And also they say the mental illness is because of bad character of the person or else weak personality. They also say persons with mental illness unpredictable. And also they say they're crazy, they're psychopathic killers. So these kinds of stereotypes for persons with mental illness play a huge role and they're discriminated in the society. Further, they're also considered as violent, dangerous, they are lazy, unreliable, buffoons, jokers, idiots. So various name calling is done. Many a time they are also called as psychos in the society, which is really a bad thing to do for a person with mental illness. At the same time, they are also being considered as unable to make rational decision, so a proxy decision is done. Why? Why is this so? Many persons with mental illness can take their decision. They may say they cannot work and they will not be given any job. Many a time, they also say persons with mental illness are criminals. They are acting out. They are drama bears, or they may say they are drama people. Many a time, they also say mental illness are self-made. They don't know how to behave, or they don't know how to be very strong. These are the words which have been told against persons with mental illness, and these are the stereotypes which do exist till date. Further, in rural areas, sometimes even in educated people, they think mental illness is because of black magic, because of devil, witches, curse, and also many a time they say because of their previous karma, they have got this mental illness in this life. At the same time, one more very difficult to remove this is stereotypes regarding medications. They say Psychiatric drugs are addiction drugs. They cause dependence. They cause us brain damage. They also cause life-threatening side effects. These medications will kill them. These are the words which have been used against medication. Hence, many a time persons with mental illness stop medicines and they relapse. The relapse is very costly for not only for persons with mental illness and also to their families. So these are the stereotypes well known in mental illness. Let's understand what is the impact of the stigma. Because of these various stereotypes which I discussed, the stigma prevails. Because of that stigma, persons with mental illness will react to this stigma because they have been discriminated. They have not been included. They have been treated unfairly by discrimination. So how do a person with mental illness behave when there is a stigma? First and the foremost, they deny the presence of mental illness. They say, I'm normal. I don't have any problem. They are worried. They will be discriminated. They will be labeled. Hence, there will be a delay in seeking treatment. At the same time, they do not adhere for treatment because if I take medication and people come to know I'm taking psychiatric medication, what do they will think? I am weak, I am mentally ill, I am crazy, I am violent. And this results in stopping medicine, frequent relapse. This results in poor self-esteem that I am mentally ill, I am not good for anything, which is basically because of internalized stigma. That leads to social rejection, distancing them, isolation, unemployment, being unmarried. Even if it is married, they get separated, bullying by the society, violence, discrimination. Since they are unable to work, they enter into poverty very soon. And there are well-known phenomena and theories has been documented. Shift theory and drift theory. Here basically a person with mental illness, even if it is in the higher socioeconomic status, over a period of time they will become poor. At the same time, from the higher socioeconomic status locality, they move into suburbans or else in the slums because they will not be able to deal the demand of the society. At the same time, the poverty pushes them into the slums. Now we will understand how the stigma continues to exist in the society. This exists because of the vicious cycle. Let's discuss these cycles, especially at the individual level, at the family level, and at the systemic level. First, at the individual level. First and foremost, there is a marker. A person with mental illness means he has abnormal behavior. He is violent. He is talking to self, smiling to self. The more the symptom loading, the stigma is created. Once the stigma is there, it means he will be discriminated. He will not be given equal opportunity. He is at the disadvantage, not only because of mental illness, he is discriminated. He has to fight for his rights. And he usually fails because the society discriminates him. Hence, he is not able to participate. He will not get job. He will not get married easily. Hence, he has a low self-esteem, not because his good looks or because of his looks or because of his poverty or socioeconomic condition, just because he has mental illness, he develops low self-esteem. This results in greater disability. The disability again leads to less resistance and stressor. Again, the marker increases. That means the number of symptoms increases and the symptom versus loading increases. Stigma continues. This vicious cycle doesn't stop. This cycle was given by Sartorius and Skulls in 2005. And this individual level needs to be broken at any point, either at the stigma level, discrimination level, or at the disadvantage by various mechanisms which we will be discussing shortly. This is at the individual level. Now let's understand about the family level. Why family level? Imagine one of your family member, either father, mother, or a brother or a sister has mental illness. It may be any kind of mental illness. It can be schizophrenia, it can be alcohol dependence syndrome or drug abuse. If these kinds of illness is there, immediately the stigmatization starts. Oh, his family has a mentally ill. Why do you want to have a relationship with that family? Why do you want to have a friendship with that family? Why do you want to have a contact? This leads this internal stigmatization within the family. the family will feel shame, guilt, and they worry. Hence, they will try to avoid the mental illness. Hence, they stop socializing. They do not mingle with other people. They do not go outside. They do not seek help. Hence, they have less help seeking behavior. Hence, there will be less support to the member of the persons with mental illness and also in the society for the whole family. This leads to disadvantage of the family, leading to increased stress because they have to deal not only the normal harsh environment and also persons with mental illness and his treatment and rehabilitation. Of course, he may not be able to work also. That also has to be taken care. Hence, the family has a not only stigma, also huge stress they have to carry on their burden. This not only happens with the persons with mental illness, the other family members are worried whether the persons with mental illness, brother and sister, will they get married? Will they get job? Will they also get illness? These are the questions which will be haunting for life. Hence, the family needs huge support in dealing with the stress of stigma. At the same time, how do the health establishment discriminate? First and the foremost, already there is a poor health services and mental health services are very negligible. This leads to enhanced stigma. When you go to a mental hospital, you see it is in a unhygienic, very poorly lit, and human rights violations at every corner of the mental hospitals or the establishment. And since it is in a very shabby state, nobody wants to go for treatment there. This leads to forceful admission, that is involuntary admission. This causes poor reputation of the services. That is a place which nobody wants to go. Many a time when you visit mental hospitals, they are so filthy and they are so unhygienic. It is worse than a prison. I should not compare with even with the prison, but unfortunately I have to do it here. I'm sorry to say this, but many mental hospitals are like that. This leads, because there is a poor reputation, the policymaker do not want to give any fund. Further, there is a deterioration of services. Hence, nobody wants to work there. Hence, a poor quality of staff, poor staff output. Hence, even the health establishment also suffers because of the stigma and discrimination. Here is the place which requires high attention, high resources, high funding, but unfortunately, the opposite occurs. A welfare society is the one which how it treats the less labeled person, or you can call it as the invalid ones. How do a society treats the invalid? That is the way the society can be judged. If the society treats invalids as useless, incompetent, or inhuman, they are going to treat. That means that society, even if they have high GDP, their welfare society cannot be considered. The mirror of the society is how do you treat your invalids, or how do you treat your incompetents, or how do you treat persons with mental illness, disableds, and prisoners. That is the best index of any society. Let's understand how the stigma by summarizing it. First and the foremost is labeling by stereotypes. Once you're labeled and there is a set of stereotypes, then the discrimination starts. Along with discrimination, of course, they will be excluded from the society, hence the stigma. Everybody is worried, especially persons with mental illness and also their family. Of course, the neighbors are also worried because of the stereotypes, thinking that they are dangerous. Why they are staying next to my house? Can they stay in our locality? So this stigma continues. Let's understand how to have this anti-stigma interventions, because this is very essential. They are part of our society, and our society is welfare society. Hence, we need to treat our invalids, incompetent, or persons with mental illness in a high respect and keeping human rights values at the utmost. First and the foremost is public relations, working with the media. So, to attack the stereotypes, to remove the discrimination. Hence, the people with mental illness, their family members, professional mental health, people need to write articles in popular magazines, newspaper on daily basis. On every festival, events, workshops, and seminars, we need to include persons with mental illness, family members, and professionals, especially mental health professionals, to remove stigma, educate the public. At the same time, public relations by psychiatric services institutions is very essential. That means the psychiatric institution should not be closed. They should be open. They should allow people to come and visit psychiatric institution so that they know how the people with mental illness behave, so that you can remove the stigma. Internet, social media needs to be utilized to educate public, remove the myths, provide facts. This is very essential because myths propagates very fast, the truth very slow. Use social media and internet to propagate the facts, not the myths about mental illness. Further, changes in mental health care has to be done. We need to decrease the mental health establishments like psychiatric institutions need to be decreased. We need to enhance community-based treatment. Patients need to be treated in the home, nearby hospitals. Especially, we need to integrate mental health care with the primary health care and general health care. Treatment should be outpatient. Hence, outpatient psychiatric care need to be strengthened. General hospital psychiatry need to be strengthened. Care at doorsteps to be provided. That means we need to provide mental health care at the doorsteps, especially making community outreach services, providing mental health camps in the rural area, using telepsychiatry services, community-based rehabilitation. At the same time, prevention of substance use and drugs plays a very essential role in schools and colleges because prevention of drugs decreases mental illness. Third one is support for users and families. That is basically persons with mental illness and their families. Training program for persons with mental illness and their families, coping mechanisms need to be taught, empowering them, and also social competencies for the families need to be taught. We need to make self-help groups so that they can deal with the stress of persons with mental illness. Information sharing, treatment options in lay term should be provided to them, creation of job opportunities for persons with mental illness, consumer groups, self-help groups. At the same time, caregiver pension should be given. The simple reason is the persons with mental illness, especially severe mental illness, if one family member need to look after them, it is a full-time job. Imagine person with mental illness himself is not doing job. Another person need to look after them. That means two people in the family almost lost their life. Their quality of life is very poor and they are not being able to earn livelihood. Hence, it is the duty of the government to provide pension to the caregivers, or else let the government move forward and provide care to persons with mental illness so that the caregiver can go back to the society and start working so that he can support economically to the persons with mental illness. This is very essential because Mental Health Care Act clearly says that it is the duty of the state to provide care and also provide access to care for persons with mental illness. Not only that, rehabilitation should be provided. Including the rehabilitation also includes supported accommodation and sheltered accommodation. And it is the duty of the government to provide this. It is not the families. If the family is looking after the persons with mental illness, the caregiver pension is mandatory. This is what I feel strongly because I have seen persons with mental illness, family members struggling day in and day out in providing care for persons with mental illness because the government does not take much responsibility in developing world. It is the family members who provide care. Of course, it's a strength and also weakness. Strength means human rights violation is less because family members are looking after them. But weakness means the families are taken for granted. It is high time we provide pension for caregivers. Education and training. Mental health as a topic in schools and colleges need to be taught. The simple reason is every child and every school-going children know whenever they have physical injury, they know how to put dressing, how to ask for help, how to go to a doctor. But at the same time, if the same person is hurt, if he is feeling sad, if he's lost a game or lost a job, or there is a relationship issues or a emotional problems, or he is going through a behavioral problems, he does not know what to do. He does not know where to seek help, or else where to get the emotional support. That means we do not know about the mental health hygiene. We know how to take care of our body. We do take bath daily. We do brush our teeth, but we don't do anything for our mental health. It's an unfortunate thing. Hence, school children, college going adolescents need to be taught about mental health, how to keep their mental health healthy. That is called as wellness. Improvement in psychiatric training in medical colleges, nursing colleges, psychology schools, and social work is very essential. Better education of health, all health professionals, training seminars for employers, especially workplace mental health issues need to be taught. Training seminars for police and legal professionals is very essential, so that they are the implementing agents. At the same time, they are the people who are going to uphold the human rights of persons with mental illness. This is how the mental health promotion important, what we call it as the factors. First and the foremost is promoting harmony, keeping zero stigma and discrimination, reducing violence, promoting individual rights, improving mental health facilities and community treatment, health education, and mental health disorders. So these are the important components how the mental health promotions are dealt. Further, the mental health promotions has to be done in various categories. First and the foremost is mental health awareness, anti-stigma, human rights protection, suicide prevention, violence prevention against women and child abuse. This prevents mental illness. Early childhood, proper stimulation for intellectual disability, paternal and also parental maternal mental health promotion, school-based mental health promotion, college-based mental health promotion, workplace mental health promotions, and various other strategies need to be taken up so that mental health promotion is a comprehensive phenomena from whom to whom should be done. Coming to the last, policies and laws. The laws need to be rights-based mental health care. That means mental health care should be part of the legislation. Not only that, it is a right to access for mental health care should be there. At the same time, human rights need to be protected during the delivery of this mental health services. Rights of persons with disability, especially mental disability, should be kept on priority. And also special provisions to mainstream the persons with mental illness should be taken. And reasonable accommodation should be considered for persons with mental illness in education, in job, and also in society participation to be considered. To conclude, my dear friends, the stigma need to be attacked comprehensively in the society. The persons with mental illness and their family need to talk openly and acknowledge about illness. Yes, I'm having mental illness, I'm taking treatment, I'm able to work. And you need to educate yourself if you are a person with mental illness, and also your family members and others. Be conscious of language when you address a person with mental illness. Do not use critical language like psycho, crazy, idiots need to be stopped. They are also human beings. You need to call them as persons with mental illness. Encourage equality between physical and mental illness. Unfortunately, a person with physical illness, if he is admitted with a heart attack or else heart problem, people show sympathy and empathy. For a person with mental illness, there is no sympathy or empathy. They feel that he deserved it. That needs to be stopped. At the same time, the government need to treat physical illness and mental illness on equal footing. Ambulance need to be provided for persons with mental illness. Equal budget need to be provided for persons with mental illness and mental health care. Further, show compassion for those with mental illness. Be honest about treatment. Normalize mental health treatment. Let the media know when they are using critical language or stigmatizing language regarding mental illness. At the same time, choose empowerment over shame for persons with mental illness. Final words. Please, if you are a healthcare professional, or else if you are talking to any persons with mental illness who is having mental illness or recovered from mental illness, do not advise to stop medication. You do not know their journey. You do not know the cost of relapse. You do not know how the family has dealt his mental illness in the past. So never ever stop a medication without contacting their psychiatrist. Hence, before you stop medication, talk to the psychiatrist, talk to the treating physician. Further, last word is users or the survivors of mental illness need to come out of the closet. They need to proclaim, yes, the mental illness is curable, treatable, and they are human beings entitled with rights that they need to come out. If they do not come out, nobody will fight their battle. Nobody will fight their war. Of course, the society will do very less because the society itself is blinded and they are not ready to accept. They are accepting the stereotypes. These stereotypes need to be broken. It starts from persons with mental illness, their family members, their community, mental health professionals, and others need to talk loud about this stigma and discrimination. Thank you very much for your valuable time. Stay safe.